Well, when I went to Norfolk and, I had already read the policies and I was very sure of my position and that I had my facts straight. And I went to them and I said, hey, here are the facts. I've read the policy. I know my rights and I know that I'm allowed to use this medication. And for them to flat out tell me, no, we're not going to honor that. And also, pretty much, you don't know what you're talking about. I took it disrespectfully. And it put me right in a position immediately to where I realized I was either going to have to keep a job that I worked very hard for. And, I went through two academies to get, I've worked for a very long time to get where I wanted, a job that I really loved. And I was going to have to put that on the line because they were going to say that your medication and your personal rights, are outweighed by what we want. So it was, how do you have three kids and tell them to stand up for yourself, but then turn around and let a city walk all over you? I kind of hit this David and Goliath type, battle that was coming up, and I really had to decide whether or not I was going to toe the line and stay with it, or if I was going to walk away. And here we are still. Okay, so the way that it's looking now is that the law changed in 2021. By 2022, I was asking my questions. By 2023, I was terminated in October of 2023. And by then, we were already pushing to have the amended version of the state law to pretty much specifically include employees of the Commonwealth and the municipalities within that. It looks like right now Norfolk's possibly going to say, well, you being terminated predates the change in this law, even though Senator Pekarsky has come out and said that this was meant to close a loophole that should have never existed in the first place. This was meant to protect first responders right off the get-go. And this isn't a hidden thing. Right now, I have a grievance coming up June 4th. We had to go to court one time so far because I got in the letter from the city manager's office a letter of partial grievability determination, and they pretty much said that even though I was allowed and I could grieve my termination, I was not allowed to say that their zero tolerance marijuana policy that was not adhering to state law was a bad policy. I couldn't say that I got fired because of a bad policy. I could only say, did I violate the policy? And if so, should I have been fired? And so obviously this was ridiculous. So we went to court. The judge pretty much said, yeah, that's stupid. Y'all can go and say whatever you want to your grievance panel. So now June 4th, I have a grievance panel coming up. And hopefully at that point, we find out that I get to go back and win. And soon after that, I'm sure that civil suit's going to be against the city as well, for wrongful termination and medical discrimination. What they're doing is wrong, and I think that they're just using the gray area of me being a medical cannabis patient to try to violate employee rights, and it's despicable and deplorable. Sure. There's nothing saying that medical cannabis patients are any more of a liability than people who drink in their off time or people who use Ambien to go to sleep at night or anything else. To treat an entire group as if they are not going to be able to use the same moderation that the rest of the population is able to use is just flat out discrimination. There's no reason to believe that people that use a certain medication on their off time are any more of a risk than anybody else, and that cities shouldn't be able to use people's medications against them, especially if they're saying and they're educating themselves and they're willing to do everything that is within their power to negate any impairment that may come along. So I really think for justice to be served, that human resource department and the people thereof and the city of Norfolk really need to come out ahead of this and say, hey, look, we messed up. We apologize. And I really think that going forward, there needs to be a checks and balances that's given to city, departments that have that much unchecked power, because all it takes is something like cannabis that comes in here to gray up the area or muddy up the waters. And the next thing you know, they think that they can walk all over people's rights. And I think that if anything, this has illuminated not just a cannabis problem, but a workers' rights problem all the way around, at least in this area.